Welcome to another week, another show of Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. Here we are again, right here, Carver Hawkeye Arena, the Big Ten Conference Room. Lisa Bluder joining us for this show, and after Lisa, we're going to have Jensen and Jenni Fitzgerald joining us to close out the show. So Lisa, as always, thanks for joining us. It's great seeing you.
My pleasure.
Lisa, I was just telling you off the air as we record this on Wednesday afternoon, December 20th. A year ago today, you and I and Caitlin, Clark and Monika Czinano and my production partner Michael Merrick and Bailey Turner, your SID, we were all in this room a year ago recording. Yeah. So my easy, basic first question to you today is, what's happening in your life the last year? What's changed? What's different?
Yeah, things have changed quite a bit since that time. We've won a Big Ten tournament championship, obviously making it to the championship game and, being a historic event for our program that we've never made it there before. And, certainly we would have enjoyed winning. Who wouldn't? I feel like our team did a great job representing this university and our great state, and just really proud of the way they conducted themselves and handled themselves in that situation. But yeah, since we've been home, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind. Obviously, Caitlin was named Player of the Year nationally, and just was recently named Co-Sportswoman of the Year. That's all sports, all women across the country. That's amazing accomplishment. So a lot has changed, including sellouts and that sort of thing. Caitlin
just seems to be wired differently than any other player I've ever seen or been around for a number of years. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I do think she's wired differently. I mean, she's such a competitor. She loves the game. She's really good at it, and she knows she's really good at it. She loves to, show off her skill. And, the event at the crossover was really special. I had an inward goal of I was hoping that 50,000 people would show up. And, our administration came to us and they go, "Are you going to be disappointed if only 20 show up?" And I said, "No, I'm not going to be disappointed, but I really believe in the Hawkeye fans." And they came through. 56,000 people came out for that game. Most spectacular photographs, little girls screaming, adults crying. I thought it was such an empowering event for women as we broke the attendance record for women's basketball. But I just really feel like it was a great event to celebrate where our sport has come.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Caitlin going back to Des Moines last week and playing in Wells Fargo, she performed pretty well there. She was 1-3 going into that, and in her college career she's 1-0. So had a great night, and again, that was almost felt like a NCAA tournament type of atmosphere.
You're right.
It was very electric. We were playing in a different arena, a semi-pro arena, and it felt electric. And I'm really glad that some of the people that don't get to see us play in Carver now because it being sold out got to see us play there.
Well, you're way too humble to say it, so I'm going to say it for you. I'm not going to gloss over all your accomplishments. We did that last year, and Michael and I were joking we could almost do a whole show on your accomplishments. But from everything we mentioned last year, and again, you are Iowa's all-time winner, lead over a C. Vivian Stringer, person you were very close to, as you mentioned too. Coming up as a coach, you were able to reach out to her and became very friendly over the years, even coaching against her when she left here to go to Rutgers. Yeah. But you also, since we've last talked, got 500 career wins here at Iowa as the head coach. That happened out in Florida. 11-1 this year right now, again, as you go into tomorrow night's game against Loyola Chicago. 11-1, 1-0 in the Big Ten. But congratulations. I know milestones are great. You've had the Coach of the Year honors, and every time you win, it seems like you're passing another milestone. But I didn't want that one to get past us, so congrats on the 500.
Well, I appreciate it. But Jensen and Jenni Fitzgerald have been here for every one of those 500.
That's right.
And they're going to be here later in the program.
That's why they're here. That's right.
But that's very special to share that journey with my best friends and people that I admire and I trust. And so it was I was able to have the opportunity to recognize them before one of our games, which they so richly deserved.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And as we're here in the Big Ten conference room, you and I talked about, you signed your contract here.
Yeah.
We're going full circle as you roll back with your eyes. 24 years here now at Iowa after being at Drake and St. Ambrose and being a player at Northern Iowa. So you've got Iowa through and through. And you talked about that, where some other universities outside the state of Iowa looked at you back in the day and you thought, oh, heck, I'm an Iowa gal. But what I find interesting about that, and you and Jan and Jenny and I will talk about this, where women's basketball has gone from this day, because I remember you telling me too last year, yeah, Dave, I should have held out for 500 more, or you held out for 500 more, or whatever it was, $500.
Yeah.
And now you see where salaries in women's basketball on the national landscape, not just against men's basketball, but in the national sporting landscape. I cannot wait to talk to Jan and Jenny and you, the three of you, to get your take on this with Caitlin's award yesterday with the Sporting News. I just find it fascinating to see, if you could tell me in your words before we bring Jan and Jenny in here, where the game is today and how just that has to tickle you pink.
Oh, it does, because I was of the generation that got to see it when nobody cared about it. I was of the generation when I played, there was a couple hundred people in the stands, and it was back page, paragraph, box score. I have one videotape of one of my games in college. And so, things have changed a lot, and I'm just so thankful. But, the athletes are better, the coaching is better, the promotion of our sport is better. And since we've gotten TV now, the Big Ten Network and now, ESPN, Fox, and having TV exposure helps show everybody what our game has become.
Yeah.
And when they see it, they're like, oh my, I haven't watched women's basketball in a long time, but it's really good. And it is really good right now. It's played at a very, very high rate. The women are unbelievable athletes and shooters and intelligent basketball players. And so I just think that people didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And now we've been exposed to it, and we're not going backwards. And honestly, I think our team last year just gave people an opportunity to think about something other than what was going on around the country. And we needed something happy, something positive to cheer for. And I think our team became that team.
Absolutely. And you and I talked about that last year, as did Monica and I and Caitlin and I, and what you folks bring to the community. And again, not saying no one else does that, but it is neat to see. And the other thing I find fascinating when you mention it about Caitlin, it's overlooked. She's an incredible passer. And I don't care what men's or women's basketball, I'll put her against anybody from 30, 35 feet out.
Yeah.
It's a normal shot for her.
Yeah.
It's not like coming from her knees.
Oh, no.
It's a normal shot. And you were talking about the three-point line earlier. I was going to joke and say, are they going to start making a four-point line for her? Because now, let's be honest, as a coach, and I've asked you this before, I have to ask again just to relive last year. Have you ever come down, has Jan or Jenny, and I'll ask them separately, ever come down with Caitlin, and it was one dribble inside the half court, right? I mean, let's be honest. That wasn't logo. That was dang near a half court three. She took one dribble on Saturday, was there, took it and shot it. I got to believe all three of you collectively and individually said, no. Okay, good shot. True? Have you ever done that with Caitlin?
Oh, I've done that many times with Caitlin. But at this point, I know it's coming. And so now I just, I just smile and shake my head.
What can you do?
I cannot do anything else. But she is like a special player that, and you can just see her joy after she makes that, and she's slapping, high fives to everybody in the front row.
That was great.
And how much fun did they have? They enjoyed it too.
Well, look how you and I are laughing right now just talking about it.
Yeah.
As a coach, you got to be loving it. So, well, Lisa, let's do this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great insights as always for this first segment, and let's close out the show, the next two segments, with the three amigos.
Or the Three Stooges, whatever one you want,
I'm not going to say that. You said it, I didn't. But yeah, looking forward to letting those two either indict themselves or clear their record with you. But yeah, looking forward to catching up with head Iowa women's basketball coach Lisa Bluder, and we'll have Jan Jensen, her associate head coach, and Jenni Fitzgerald, her assistant. 30 plus years. Well, how many years exactly?
I got to do the math again. I think it's about 32.
32 years, the three amigos. Wow, or whatever you want to call yourselves.
Yeah.
So for Lisa Bluder, I'm Dave O'Hara on Hawkeyed. We'll be back with more in just a few moments.
To have a strong finish, you need an excellent start. It's true on the track and also in the field. That's why Mershman Seeds works tirelessly to deliver cutting-edge technology year after year. Introducing Starting Line, Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, now providing added protection from white mold and sudden death syndrome all season. Ask for Starting Line seed treatment from Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
I mean, you can see clearly when you go to a game at Carver Hawkeye or see you folks on TV, you really are a family unit.
Yeah, and it's probably least displayed then because there I'm doing my job. It's business and we're intense and everything like that. But man, this is a family, and I know a lot of people say that and brag about that, but it is different here. And one of our values is everyone matters. And I don't care how many minutes you play on our basketball program. If you're the leading scorer, if you hardly get off the bench, you're just as important as everybody else because you're getting us ready for those games. You're a part of our circle. Yep. You're a part of our culture and our recruiting. And so it's just, it is an important thing. And I really to me, the joy I get is not really from winning another game. It's more for what the impact I can have on these young ladies' lives. And that's what inspires me. And in fact, my mission statement is to use the sport of basketball to influence the next generation of female leaders. And that's what it's all about to me is, watching them go on and be successful in their careers, or watching them go on and have families and being a part of that for the rest of their lives.
I said to you when you came in here today, and before we even started rolling the camera here, I find it fascinating when you see Carver Hawkeye packed for women's basketball, and you see what Caitlin does with the, comes in and high fives all the little girls, and they're holding the posters. Not just Caitlin, but Monika, every one of your teams, players, high five, you coaches. To see the impact, not just on, and this is what my production partner Michael and I were talking about before the show, it's not just young girls or girls. It's, when Michael says Caitlin Clark's the best basketball player, he calls games for Big Ten Network Plus and says Caitlin Clark's the best basketball player, male or female, in the country. Now, some people want to equivocate that. That's fine. We can discuss that.
Yeah.
But I think what you just brought up right there, and I would, not to correct you, but to add upon that, it's not the impact you're making just with young girls or little girls. Boys, everybody's enamored with this team of yours and what you've built here. I just think your community outreach is fantastic.
Well, the women that come here understand they're more than just basketball players. They're going to be great students, and they're going to be great ambassadors in our community. So they know that right up front. And we always talk about when you're an Iowa women's basketball player, people are going to recognize you, and that can be a little bit of a burden at times. But it's a welcome burden for these women that want to be role models. And we get out into the schools, we talk to the kids in the schools. But to see those kids, even away games, that's what always amazes me. Away games. We were at Nebraska last year, and a little girl had a sign that said, "Caitlin Clark, can I have your shoelaces?" And after the game, Caitlin walked over to her and took off her shoes and gave her her shoes.
Wow.
That's the type of impact and the type of young women that we have on this team.
So let's talk about this year's team and moving forward. And we talked about, tough losing to Creighton at home last year. And, I always find it fascinating when the fans are as disappointed as you guys are. And I'm thinking, well, no, the players are more disappointed. But everybody had high expectations. And I talked about this with Monika, and I'm curious on your thoughts. And I think I know where you're going with this. But you can't let folks like me, the media, and fans take you down a path. But obviously that's pushing you, and I know you want to win the Big Ten regular season first, then the Big Ten tourney title, then we'll talk about March Madness, but that's got to be driving you this year.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think, maybe last year we didn't have that little fire burning inside of us. We made it to the Sweet 16 my freshman year, and really we weren't supposed to get there. We weren't even projected to make the field at the beginning of the season, so I think we surprised a lot of people, and then obviously had our ups and downs at the beginning of last year, but then really got on a roll, really found our rhythm. We beat, I think 3 top 10 teams in 4 games, and then we win the regular season title, go to Indy, win the championship, and then we come here, the place is sold out, and we kind of just, lay an egg, and, that's what stinks. You have games like that where you just can't score the ball. I thought we played decent defense, and obviously Creighton, a team that is super, super familiar with us. We scrimmaged them before the year, and I honestly thought they didn't get enough credit for how good of a team they are, and I think people are seeing that this year. They've been ranked top 15. They're super talented.
Good coach.
Great coach. Coach Flan's a great coach, but again, we should have won the game, but it just wasn't our day. But I think at the same time, that's the fire that's burning inside of us this year. We don't want to feel that same way. The coaches bring that up every now and then. It's not a great thing to think about all the time, but at the same time, it reminds us, we don't want to be there. We want to be, a few games deeper. We want to be in the Final Four. That's where we want to be, and we know it's hard to get there. We know a lot of things are going to have to fall our way, but that's our goal, and we're not afraid to say that.
I've talked about this with Coach Bluder. I've talked about it with Monika Czinano, and I've got to talk about it with you. The community. Well, you can just see the family that you have here at Iowa. And Coach Bluder said it best to me. She said, Dave, a lot of people talk family, and I'm not knocking anybody, but she said it really is here. And it's palpable to be around you folks. And even at games when you're at each other, because it's competitive and she's coaching you guys and you're getting on each other as teammates, but it's for the common good and goal. But wow, to see the connection you have between each other and your fans, it's fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, especially, I went through the recruiting process. I visited a lot of places. I talked to a lot of coaches. I really understood what was a true family. You could tell which coaches really cared about their players and were going to care after they left their program, and were young females working in the real world. So I think that was super important for me, and Coach Bluder is really something that cares about that. She cares about us as people more than we are basketball players, and we're pretty good basketball players on top of that.
Too shabby, yeah.
And she's a pretty good basketball coach on top of that, too.
You darn right.
I think at the same time, like, the way this community supports women's basketball is unreal. I don't think people understand that. It's not like that everywhere. And I've been to a lot of arenas, watched a lot of women's basketball games. The way these fans, first of all, come and second of all, cheer is unreal. This place gets so loud. If you haven't experienced it, I really recommend you come.
You got to give it to us one more time.
I know. You got to come.
There it is, right there.
Get it loud with us.
But talk about the experience being coached by the Jan Jensen in the post. How about that?
She's just phenomenal, and I'm so lucky. Like, I obviously don't have anything to compare it to.
Right.
I haven't had really other intercollegiate post coaches, but she is just one of the best. The things that
what is it? Details, or what? Why do you think it is?
She's so little thing oriented. Like, she's not going to try to change everything at once, but it's all these little things that build up into huge things. But I remember, like, coming in my freshman year, all the little things I would never remember, and she would just continue to tell me over again, and all of a sudden one day it would just kind of like click, like, oh, I'd keep my shot higher, do this and that. But from freshman to sophomore year, the coaches collectively asked me to like completely change my shot.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, whatever, you guys. Like, it really can't be that bad.
I love that response,
yeah,
too. Ah, whatever. Okay, fine.
It really can't be that bad. And then I changed my shot, and all of a sudden, my shot is faster. Like, I'm scoring on all these different opponents. Like, it really did make that difference. So they just see potential in a way that you can't even describe. But she is just one of the, she sees us all as so much more than basketball players too. Like, she is truly going to be in my life for the rest of my life.
That's
and
awesome.
She's just, phenomenal person.
Okay, so I have to ask, so when you are in Minnesota and you see Megan Gustafson and you're being recruited, why Iowa, why Coach Bluder, why Coach Jensen? Did you see the potential, like, man, I'm going to be my best here, iron sharpens iron, or hey, it's cool, I want to get away from home? What went through your thought process?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was honestly more than basketball. Obviously, seeing Megan's success and knowing that, I mean, the coaches coach that, and that's a standard that they live up to. That was huge. But, I mean, from the second I stepped on campus, I just could tell it was such a family atmosphere. These coaches love Iowa. They're not looking for the next biggest school they can get to. They're not looking for anything after it. They truly are putting all their time and energy into Iowa. And I remember meeting with the team and just kind of seeing how they interacted, and I just knew that was a culture that I wanted to be in. So the fact that Coach J coaches post players like she does was kind of an added benefit.
Sure.
But I wanted to be a part of this family, and so it was just kind of a no-brainer once I got the offer.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seed company that's chasing technology, or a seed company that's writing a book on it? Merschman Seeds is a leader in technology. We're independent and family-owned. Our sister company, MS Technologies, provides access to world-class traits and genetics. And our starting line seed treatment is second to none. Who can you trust with your yields? Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara, Lisa Bluder, Jan Jensen, Jenni Fitzgerald. You got your head coach of Iowa women's basketball, associate head coach, and assistant coach. Ladies, it has been a blast. I can't thank you enough for your time. So let's close out with a real whiz-banger here, the last one. So let's start with Lisa. I'm going to have you talk about your mindset. You and I talked a little bit in the first segment about where basketball is today. And let's talk about where it's going. You said it's not going anywhere, but you referenced it earlier in the first segment, and I want to come back to it. I said I would. Yesterday's announcement, again, as we record this on Wednesday, December 20th, I find it fascinating that with Caitlin getting the National Athlete or Co-Athlete of the Year with Angel Reese, and as infamous or famous as she is and all that went on in the championship game last year, and Iowa fans have been out of shape, as homers should be. You should be pulling for your gal. But what it brings to the national forefront, that championship game last year, your team setting attendance records wherever they go, on the road, at home, national championship game, 55,646, or I like your math better, 56,000, at the crossover at Kinnick. That's where I see this heading, with and or without Caitlin Clark, if she goes to the WNBA, the NBA. So as we talk about the future, I have to ask. I'm going to ask all three of you so you both have time to think about your answer. And Lisa, you've been very forthright in your answer to this. Are you going to talk, when you talk to Caitlin, obviously you're going to be pro-Iowa, but what's best for her, or when that decision comes at the end of this year, whether she's going to go to the WNBA or she has the option to come back for another year, what is your conversation like with her?
Well, I mean, why would I not want her to stay? I mean,
Obviously.
that's silly, So of course I want her to stay, but I also have to, back her in whatever she chooses to do and whatever she wants to do. But I certainly want to point out some of the good things that staying at Iowa can give her, including the opportunity to completely rewrite the NCAA record books And
Well, it would just be an autobiography of Caitlin Clark, right?
It really could be. And it's not like she's giving up on the dream of the WNBA. She's just delaying it a year. So it's not like you're really choosing between the WNBA and Iowa. It's just choosing about 1 year. Where do you want to spend this 1 year if you have either choice?
And before Jan and Jenny jump in with their answers, I find it fascinating how NIL has changed this completely, because now it's not costing her any money. If anything,
Right.
I mean, we all know the national ad campaigns she has, and she sat here last year and told me, Dave, when I came here as a freshman, I played in front of cutouts.
Yeah.
I had no idea there was going to
Right.
be NIL.
Right.
I had no idea. She's a very good student, as all your players are. You've mentioned that multiple times. So she's got a great future no matter what she decides. So I hear you. Obviously, you want her to come back, but I thank you for taking us inside that conversation. So I'm going to skip Jan and go to you, Jenny, since you handle the guards, so to speak. And I know Caitlin's not a guard per se, so you get extra time to think about it, Jan. But Jenny, what are your thoughts when you have that conversation with Caitlin?
I'll be honest, I haven't had the conversation with her. I know Coach Bluder has, and her family has, and she has friends and people kind of in her camp. So I try to shy away from it. I think everyone asks her that
That's fair,
question.
yeah.
And so we just talk more about life things or basketball and fun things, and instead of, because she's having those conversations with others, and I just don't want to put more pressure on her. So I personally haven't. My answer would be very similar to Lisa's. We would support her in her decision. You'd hope that she would say
Sure.
Iowa, though.
Well, I wasn't going to let you off the hook. I was going to say when or if. Let's hypothetically say she asked you. So thank you for your candor on that. So, Jen, you've had a chance to think, and I know as the ladies have told me, you're a person of few words. Lay it on us. What would you say, or what have you said? What will you say? Lay it out for us, please.
Well, I think you can't have everybody having those conversations. Right? I think she knows. You don't really have to tell her. We're a family, so she knows we want her to stay, but we want the best for her. My thing is it's understandable why everybody wants to know. They all have an opinion. Well, this is going to follow her. That money's going to follow her. Well, what's it going to be like when she stays or goes? It's like, enjoy the moment. We have her right now. We have this particular team right now. And so everybody, not us, everybody so wants to know. And it's just, whether it's this year that she says goodbye to college or the year after, we've been so fortunate that this is part of the era. And we've been in this beginning of the NIL and the craziness of collectives and all that stuff, but we've had arguably, potentially, one of the most greatest ever marketable ever, and we've gotten to learn and grow and be part of that. So I'm not really worried about what's going to happen when she leaves, because Megan left. Michael Jordan left. If you follow the women's game, Diana Taurasi left. She was a great player for Connecticut. So I just think it helps me stay in the moment and enjoy the logo shot she hit today. It enjoyed, and when you have to breathe when she, does, maybe 6 logos in a row, whatever. It's
What a
just
21-year-old kid
the
does,
challenge, right? So that's my thing, is trying to do that and trying to get everybody else to enjoy the year too, because there's a lot of excitement left to come.
Well, you've really hit upon, all three of you have really hit upon it. This isn't an era player or once in a generation. This is a once in a lifetime talent. And as we talk today, she's number 9 on the scoring list, but by the end of this calendar year, she could be top 5. And Kelsey Plum now is not that far away at number 1. And you mentioned some great players, all three of you have, throughout college basketball. But that's the thing that excites me as an Iowa fan and should excite all the viewers. Yes, if Caitlin does leave this year or the next year, whenever it happens, it's inevitable. She's going to be done playing here. You've got a great well of talent coming in, and it was well documented on social media with Callie Levine, and you went over to Wisconsin to recruit, and Callie and her mom were there watching 2 players when you went and played in Madison. That's the thing I think that's encouraging, is where it's leaving the game in a far better place than where we're headed next. So, well stated by all three of you. Let's enjoy it while we have it, and it is what it is. So, if your playing days, would you play, who would be an easier or more desirable, whatever phrase, and see, Jen is already wincing. Who would you choose as your head coach? Who would you like to play for, Jenny or Jan? And don't say both or co-head coaches. I'm 5 steps ahead of you.
I'm picking Jenny.
Why? Why?
Well, because Jenny does the majority of our scouting for us, and she's they both sit by me on the bench, but Jenny is really, and not that Jan's not, but Jenny really watches the most basketball of anybody on our staff.
All right.
Absolutely.
Victory. I love the cheer. We're going to go right down the line.
You got to give her a few. It was like, who do you want to play to take the shot?
I love
Me?
it. I love it.
That's true.
That's true.
Here's the competitive side I love. Here's the competitive
Strategies, forget that. We're talking about playing.
Here's the competitive side I love. So thank you both, all three of you, so much. Lisa first, and then the three of us, the three ladies joining me. What a team. What a future. We're all very happy with where we're going. Do we have an end point in mind, the three of us, or are you just going to go as long as you can?
Long as we're having
As long as
fun.
they'll keep us.
As long as they'll keep us.
We just keep showing up to work and they keep letting us
They haven't
in.
changed the locks to the passcode.
We're all good.
I expected nothing else from you three. Thank you so much. So for the aforementioned ladies, I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. Thanks again to my production partner, Michael Merrick, and to Bailey Turner, the SID here for Iowa Women's Basketball. That's all from us. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you.